Good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto Ma Sadgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamya. Om Sehna Bhavatu Sehna Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavahi Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti 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 Om. Okay, section 3 of the first chapter, Udgit Brahman. And last time I was telling you that Udgit is a song which occurs in the second chapter of the Sam Ved. Okay. And it's like a hymn. So Vedic mantras are called hymns. It begins with the mystic syllable Om. And this chanter, priest, is called Udgat. Udgat. Okay. So let's look at the second mantra of this chapter. Te vachah uchu tvam na udgayati tatheti tebhyo vag udgayat yo vachihi bhogastam devyabhya agayat yat kalyanam vadati tadatmane te vidrunena venaha udgatra utushyatintihi tam vidruttehe papam na vidnaha sa yasa papama yad evam Tirupam vadati sa eva sa papama. So this is the second mantra. So which goes like this. Well, they said to the organ of the speech, sing hymns for us. Very well, said the organ of speech, and sang hymns for them. The well-being that accrues from the organs of speech, it obtained for the gods by singing, but utilize the correct pronunciation for itself. The demons knew. You remember in the first verse, there was a Devta and Asura. The demons are these Asurs. The demons knew that the gods would beat them with the help of this very chanter. They therefore rushed at it and pierced it with evil. That is indeed the evil which is found today when one speaks what is wrong. So the gods, the Devatas, asked the organ of speech to sing Udgita. They asked speech to become the agent of warding off the evil by becoming holy. Of course, the speech obeyed their instructions. It made itself pleasant to the gods and spoke what was good. And it became good speech. Evil and dark forces in an individual do not allow the sattva to express and predominate. Here also they counteracted the efforts of speech and charged the speech very badly till it uttered bad words. This evil is that which we find today. When a person speaks what should not be spoken, or you can say what is forbidden to be spoken. But through the promptings of this devilish force, a person speaks unpleasant words, utters dreadful expressions, or even makes false and vulgar statements. Because a person's speech has been contaminated by the vicious and undivine traits of the individual, which is called a Asuri Shakti. So here the organs of the body are identified with the gods. Those are the Devtas. But they are Devtas when they manifest the divine nature in them. And with the demonic nature, they express the undivine traits. So this mouth of ours can speak truthful also, sweetly also, something which is helpful also. But at the same time, it can go opposite of that too. And that is devilish. So let's look at verse number 3. These are very simple verses actually, where each part of our body been asked. So verse number 3. अथः प्राणम उचुः त्वं न उद्गायेति तथेति तेभ्यः प्राण उद्गायत य प्राणे भोगस्तं देवभ्य अगायत यत् कल्याणं जिघ्नति तदात्मने ते विदुरनेन वैनः उद्गात्र उत्शेतिन्ति तम भी धृत्यः पापम न विध्यन य स पापमा यद एव idam pratirupam jigrati sa ev sa papama. Then the god said to the nose. So first the speech, now to the nose. Sing the Udgit for us. So be it, said the nose, and sang the Udgit for them. Whatever pleasure is in the nose, it's cured for the gods by singing. Whatever good smell is there, that for itself. But then the demons found that out. The demons knew that the gods would surpass them through that singer of Udgit. Thinking thus, they rushed at it, that means to the nose, pierced it with sin. This indeed is that sin which smells wrong. This indeed is that sin. So when the speech was struck down with evil, then the nose was asked to appear and sing hymns to purify itself. But the nose also caught the infection of evil, began to smell bad odor. It is for this reason that even today the nose smells bad things. So now the next is the chakshu, the eyes. Atha chakshursu tvam na udgayeti tathetihi tebhyas chakshu gayat yat chakshushi bhogastam devabhya agayat yat kalyanam pashyati tadatmane te vidurunena venaha udgatraha utyashnatiti तंभी धृत्य पापम विध्यन स यस पापमा यद एव इदम प्रतिरूपम पश्यति स एव स पापमा. So this is verse number 4. Then the god said to the eyes, sing hymns for us. Very well, said the eye, and sang hymns for them. The well-being that accrues from the eyes, it obtained for the gods by singing, and utilized the fine seeing for itself. Again, the demons knew that devatas will beat them with the help of this very chanting priest. They rushed at it, pierced it with evil. That is indeed the evil which is found today when one sees what is wrong. So the demonic quality in our eyes. So the eyes were brought forward to the task of sacrifice and chanting. It secured the common good for the gods, retained fine seeing for itself first, but then it was struck down by vicious infection. It started looking at unholy scenes, evil objects, dirty matters. It is this evil which is persisting in the eye even today. When a person sees something which is unholy or obscene. So according to these Vedic seers, that is a sin. That is a evil. Because otherwise, all these senses, they are the devatas. But when we don't keep the purity, then, of course, the demonic nature takes over. So, I mean, you can see that where he's going now, he's talking about the shrotra, the ears. Atah shrotram uchuhu tvam na udgayeti tatheti tebhya shrotram udgayat ya shrotrehe bhogastam devebhya agayat yat kalyanam shrinotihi tadatmane te vidrunen vena udgatra utyeshyatihi tabhami udrutye papam vidhyan sa papama yad ev pratirupam shrinoti sa ev sa papama. So this is mantra number 5. Then the gods said to the ear, sing hymns for us. Very well, said the ear, and sang hymns for them. The well-being that accrues from the ear, it obtained for the gods by singing, but utilized the fine hearing for itself. The demons knew that the gods would beat them with the help of this very chanting priest. They rushed at it and pierced it with evil. That is indeed the evil which is found today when one hears what is wrong. So gods ask the ear to come forward, do the needful to surpass the evil. But as we see that it was also pierced with the evil of hearing what should not be heard. How often we take pleasure in something which is wrong. In general terminology, it's called gossip. So according to the scriptures, the saints, that's evil, that's demonic. It's not proper. So, but even to this day, the ears hear all unholy sounds. Let's see what happens the next. The mind, the man. अथः मन उचु त्वं न उद्गायेति तथेति तेभ्यो मन उद्गायत यो मनसि भोगस्तं देवेभ्य आगायत यत् कल्याणं संकल्पं यति तद आत्मने ते विदुर्नेन वेना उद्गात्र उत्येष्यन्ति तं भी उद्रतेः पापं न विध्यन् स यस पापमा यद एव इदं प्रतिरूपं संकल्पमति स एव स पापमा एवमो खलवेतः देवता पापम अभि उपासृजन एवं न पापनः विध्यन. Then the god said to the mind, sing hymns for us. Very well, said the mind, and sang hymns for them. The well-being that accrues from the mind it obtained for the gods by singing, but utilized the fine thinking for itself. The demons knew that gods would beat them with the help of this very chanting priest. They rushed at it, pierced it with evil. That is indeed the evil which is found today when one thinks what is wrong. So we all know that thoughts arise from the mind. So the evil which is found today when one thinks what is wrong, in this very way they also tainted the other deities with evil, pierced them with evil. So after the ear was infected by the Rajasic and Tamasic. See, when we talk about sin or evil, it is the Rajasikta or the Tamsikta he's talking about. Those tendencies. So now the mind was asked to perform the sacrifice and sing the hymns of Udgit. But the mind also underwent the same fate. It was contaminated by evil and it imbibed evil thinking. And it is this evil that has caused the mind to think improper, unholy, wrong thoughts. If we look in our mind, how many thoughts have that kind of a taint? How many sattvic and how many rajasic and tamasic? Rajasic and tamasic are evil, according to our rishis. So the deities of the remaining sense organs and the motor organs. So it's not just only the sense organs, even the motor organs were also, the karam indriya also were told to do this, which are not mentioned here, but they were also asked to sing. One by one, they were tried, but all got contaminated by evil. None of them could do the task of sanctification well and transcend evil. Jnana indriya, karam indriya, including the mind. Then what happened? Verse number 7. Ath hem masanyam pranam uchu tvam na udgayeti tatheti tebhye एष प्राण उद्गायत ते विद्रुनेन वेन उद्गात्र उत्येषनिति तम भी द्रुत्य है पापम विध्यन स यथा तलोष्टो विध्वंसतेत एवं हेव विध्वंसमानः विचश्चहो विनेशुः ततः देवा अभ्यवन् परा असुरः भवत आत्मनः परासे द्विष भ्रातिव्यो भवति य एवं वेद. Then the god said to this vital force, Pran, residing in the mouth, sing hymns for us. Very well, said this vital force, and sang hymns for them. The demons knew that the gods would beat them with the help of this very chanting priest. They rushed at it, wanted to pierce it with evil, but as a clod of earth dashing against a rock is shattered. So crushed and blown in all directions, they perished. Then the gods became their true selves, and the demons were defeated. He who knows thus becomes his true self, and his jealous relative is defeated. Because they are relatives. Both were born from Prajapati. The Devtas also, the demons also. So that's why they are called Bhratri. There's a word over here towards the end, Bhratrivyo, Bhavatiya, Evam Ved. So they said to the prana, the vital force, which resides in the cavity of the mouth, to sing the Udgita. And Pran chanted the Udgit. Sure, the demons tried to contaminate it with their taint. They could not. Why? Because Pran is taintless. See, just like Atma is taintless, Pran is taintless. Speech, mind, and the other organs have got their twofold functions. See, just like a good speech and a bad speech, good thought and a bad thought. But the Pran is unattached, unconcerned with the sense experiences. Now you understand why this, even a simple pranayam, yoga is nothing without pranayam. If you don't do pranayam, it's just only physical exercises for the physical body. If you want to really elevate ourselves, pranayam. Though this vital force is eminent in the entire makeup of all senses, but it remains unaffected from their evil and good tendencies. It stays detached. So that's why it's written here, the evil gets perished when it tries to pierce the pran. With a very impressive simile, this rishi is showing us how the destruction of evil and sin took place. As a clod of earth striking against a rock gets itself shattered. Okay, you have a ball of some kind of a clay, you just throw it on the stone. We all know how it gets shattered. It's just small pieces. So the same way the demons were blown out in all directions and was destroyed. They could not face Pran Shakti. Soon after this destruction of demons took place, the gods were restored to their natural state. We will see that later on. And after the evil force was counteracted and destroyed by the all-powerful Prana, good tendency once again prevailed, in all the different organs. They started functioning properly and rightly. Our yogic scriptures, they talk about that a person who does the pranayam regularly with this understanding and connects the mind with the God reaches to those higher realms. Those are the divine realms with the help of the pranayam. So the gods were restored to their proper places and the demons defeated. And gods over here, all the devatas inside of this beautiful temple. See, just like in an outer temple also, there are deities. This is our own personal temple, there are deities. All our senses are nothing but devatas. One who knows this gives up the false identification with the senses and the sense perceptions. That means if you really understand it truly, that eyes are the devatas, ears are the devata. This mouth of ours is a devata. This body is a temple. What will happen to all kinds of evil tendencies? We won't see evil. We won't hear evil. We won't speak evil. In other words, we will learn how to transcend the evil. And our envious relatives in the form of the attachment to the sense objects, because those attachments are they are standing in between. They are standing in our way of identification with that cosmic, taintless, vital force. They get defeated because they cannot anymore infect evil upon us. That's why we have to identify ourselves with the cosmic Pran, Hiranyagarbha. The life of all the organs in all the bodies. That's where the oneness is. The Pran Shakti is the same in all of us. Pran Shakti not only in us, but in this entire cosmos, there's a Pran Shakti. That's where the oneness is. That's how we end up feeling that we have conquered the lower and we have risen to the higher. So you see that how beautifully this Rishi is just telling us that when you sing these mantras also, or any mantras when you sing, or even just to say Om, pay attention to that Pran Shakti, the vital force. So because with that kind of a power, that kind of a energy, we can shatter all the devilish thoughts. Let's look at verse number 8. Sa hochuhu kwana so buddhyo na itham sketihi ayam ase antritihi so asye angiras anganam hirasaha. Now, what did the gods, they are saying? So the god said, where was he who has thus joined us to our true self? So all the devatas, they are feeling they are separate. They said something really joined us. they decided he is within the mouth. Therefore, the vital force is called YSA, Angiras, because it is the essence of the limbs. So when divinity was restored to sense organs, illusion got destroyed. They pondered, they wondered over what had taken place. All these senses. That's when they investigated about the vital force and discovered that he was present within the cavity of their mouth. Without assuming any particular form, and came to be known as Ayasya. His seat being within the mouth, and Angiras, he being the essence of the body and its organs. Okay, so that's why pranayama is the soul of yoga. Every organ of our body, not just only one organ, every cell, every muscle, every sense organ. So it's called pran, and it's the all penetrating life in all the limbs. All the limbs. He is the common self of all the limbs. He is ever untainted by evil. And he alone could restore divinity to other organs. That's why we got to successfully chant Udgit, he says. Later on, it will be said that after the departure of Pran out of the body and limbs, they become dead. Because they can function only as long as Pran is supplying life to them. Because there's a story that they all started wondering who is stronger. Okay, one by one, they started leaving. But when Pran left, everybody called him back. No, you are the greatest. Without you, we are nothing. Pran. So from here, we can see that there is no opposite of Pran. There is no Tamsikta or the Rajsikta in the Pran. Pran is from the other Upanishads. What did we learn? What is Pran? Pran is the shadow of Atma. Just like Atma is one everywhere. There are not two Atmas, one. The same way, the shadow is also one. There's no opposite of that. Sa va eshaha devata dur nam duram hayasyaha mrityu duram hava asman mrityu bhavati ya evam ved. This is verse number 9. That very deity is called Dur, since death is away from it. Death is certainly away from him who knows this. So that very God is known by the name Dur. That's what he's saying. Dur nam duram hayasyaha mrityu. Because death remains at a distance from him. He who knows this, death certainly remains away from him. So that very God who restored the different functions of the organs from the grip of the sin and the evils, and who is immediately residing within the cavity of the mouth, is called as dur. Dur means actually away, like a dur, in the sense that he is away from death in the form of attachment to sense objects which belong to the demons. Okay, so where the demon is, death can come. But when we are away from it, it's away from the death. Pran is life. So naturally, we can understand that death is far away from him. So it is for this reason that this vital force is called as dur. And there's a purity in it. Because wherever the death is, we see that impure, but there's a purity. And he who knows this meditates upon the vital force as purity, he attains identity with it and can ward off death in the form of attachment to sense objects. Okay, so that's why you can see that a lot of yoga teachers, they teach you how to meditate by focusing your mind on the prana. This is the reason. So meditation can be done, or when we are chanting the God's names, or when we are doing yoga nidra, or doing other techniques, the pranayama, the pran shakti. But if our breathing is not healthy, it's noisy, it becomes very disruptive. So that's why the yogis, they say, make sure you do hatha yoga. You do the neti also. You do other kriyas also, so that your breathing is better. You really feel the pran shakti, because pran is being carried by the air. Air is not pran. There's a difference between air, which we inhale, and the pran shakti. So over here, he's talking about the pran. Okay? So breath is air. Shakti is being carried by it. Breath can be foul, breath can be pleasant, but pran shakti is not bad. So this is what he's trying to tell us. So he who knows this and meditates upon the vital force as purity and attains identity with it can ward off death in the form of attachment to sense objects. On the other hand, the false identification with the body and senses is a death. Why it's a death? Because it causes separation from the real self. When we start identifying ourselves with these senses, that is a death. And due to this separation, we all know that how we can fall into the pitfalls of the evil and sins also. We end up saying wrong things, doing wrong things, smelling wrong things. So he is teaching us how to uplift yourself. Because if a person is aware of this fact and meditates upon the vital force, the common life principles pulsating in our entire body, we can become free from the false notions of I and mine. Because I and mine, they are always pertaining to the bodies, which is non-self. But we have to do the meditations, got to do the techniques where we become one. That's what yoga is. So that's why this Rishi is talking about and telling us that in course of time, you will attain identity with the common vital force. See, our limbs are different. We know that. In fact, in one body also, right hand and left hand, there's a different strength. Arms look different than the legs. Eyes are different than the ears. But the taintless and the pure pran is the same. Not only in one body, but in all the bodies and even outside the bodies. So we'll see that there are a few more mantras in this chapter, and we'll definitely go through those also next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.
Hershji,